Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you may be watching this. Welcome to Eastwood TV. This is Mr. Ramsey and my co-host, Miss Lena, and welcome to the first episode of our social emotional learning lessons. So, if you've been here at any length of time or seen our assemblies, we got 3 rules at Eastwood, the big 3, if you will. Do you know what they are? Let's think, just 3 rules.
If you thought of them, you're absolutely right. Be safe, be respectful, and be responsible are our 3 B's at Eastwood. So today we're going to focus on, give me a drum roll.
Responsibility. Responsibility, that's a big word. But as you know, one of our rules here is being responsible. What does that mean? It means that when you're responsible, you help make our school a place where everyone can learn. When we're responsible, we can be trusted to do the right thing. We help others, we clean up our messes, we focus on our schoolwork, we admit when we make mistakes and do the wrong thing. Regardless of where we are, whether it be at school or at home, responsibility is still the same. This week, I want you to think about all the different ways you can be responsible.
So in today's video, we're going to go over how to be responsible, whether it's working at home by yourself or working online with your teachers.
Focus attention. Here we go. To be responsible while in school or working on your own, you have to focus. Open those eyes. Got to focus. Focusing your attention and listening are important for learning, and it makes you a better learner. You have to concentrate and use your eyes, your ears, and your brain to focus your attention.
So like Mr. Ramsey said, you have to focus while you're in school, either on Zoom, Seesaw, or Schoology.
Or even when you're home. Look, I'm laying back on the pillows, but I'm still working and I have to focus.
So some of you may be asking, what does it mean to focus and how do you do it? Let's give it a try.
Okay, another card trick. It's called Follow the Queen.
All right, the Queen. I got it.
We got 2 9s and a queen.
Yes, she is.
Follow
Yes, again.
Keep your eye on the queen.
I got it. Do you got it?
Keep
Right
your eye on
there.
the queen. There she is. In the middle. Keep your eye on the queen again.
In the middle.
Middle, right? The queen's in the middle.
Still in the middle. Got it.
Try something here.
All right, top card. All right, it should be over there on the left.
You had to pick where you thought the queen was.
What?
You're already
No.
following the
How?
here, the queen.
Nah. Nah,
It's crazy. This is madness.
I was paying attention.
So as you can see, sometimes, yes, focusing takes hard work, Mr. Ramsey.
Oh my God.
And we're going to talk about 2 steps today on how to make focusing a lot more easier.
Okay.
So like we mentioned last week, when we went over how to be respectful, we talked about how to listen to your teachers, So when focusing, you got to do the same thing. You have to listen in order to learn, to follow directions, and to understand the assignments. The list goes on and on and on because listening is an important part of learning. So our step 1 is, in order to focus on our schoolwork, regardless of where it is or what we're doing, we first have to listen.
Gotta listen. Got it. Gotta listen. So, ears, listening to the teacher. Eyes, focusing on your teacher or your work.
Yep. And of course, you can't listen if you're talking, so make sure your mouths are closed and you're quiet, and make sure your body's still.
And you got to ignore distractions and distracting thoughts. So if it's video games or YouTube or Twitch, social media, get away from some of those things so you can focus on your work. Now, when we focus, we have to ignore distractions all around us if we're at home or at school. A distraction is something that stops someone from giving their full attention or focus to something else. So like me in this picture on the right, having a good time running through the grass with my unicorn friend, or maybe playing a little game with my dog, or thinking about sports like soccer and basketball, or rocking out to loud music. If I'm supposed to be doing my work, all those things are distracting me. So I have to learn to focus.
Or you can have other types of distractions going around you. Sometimes you could hear noise. Sometimes, you hear your mom talking in the background, or there's music playing. Or sometimes the distraction could be the TV. The TV's on while your teacher's talking or while you're supposed to be reading. Or sometimes you could be making paper airplanes out of your work that you're supposed to be writing on, or that you just see a scrap piece of paper around. And one of the most biggest distractions is video games. Whether you're doing it while you're supposed to be working, that's a no-no, or thinking about doing it while you're working. Those are all different types of distractions.
Gotta focus. Gotta focus.
So take a look at these pictures here. And you pick out which student is distracted. So look at A, B, C, and D. You got it?
I think I got it. Oh, yeah. D is who I picked. He was looking off in the distance.
Yes. He was looking away. He wasn't focused. He's not focusing on his work. He's not listening if his teacher's talking. He's kind of daydreaming. He could be looking out the window. We don't know what he could be dancing with unicorns like Mr. Ramsey was in the last picture. We don't know. And sometimes when you're distracted.
2 hours later.
What happens, Mr. Ramsey?
You get lost. I mean, you can.
Time goes by, right? We don't know.
Later, you're supposed to be doing your reading or your writing, and come back. Still in the same place. Now the teacher's moved on to math and science, and you're like, I don't have my books out. I ain't do my work. I don't even know what's going on. So just lost.
So let's go over some tips on what to do when we are distracted or if we ever get distracted. So we've been talking about this the whole time. Ignore. We gotta ignore it. So whether it's video games, mom talking, playing with your dog, we gotta not do those things. We can't be paying attention to them. Yeah. And I think the best thing that we can do to be proactive and to prepare ourselves is to reduce the chaos around us. So that if something's noisy, turn it off. If there's a lot of people in the room, go to a different room. If the TV's on, if you have toys around you, make sure none of those things are near you, and find a quiet place to work, whether it's when your teacher's online with Zoom or like you're in Mr. Ramsey's picture, kind of just hanging out on a,
I got a question, Miss Lena. So let's say I don't have a lot of space in my house and there's a lot of noise. I want to listen. Is it a good idea if I use my headphones so that I can hear and block out the noise?
That's a perfect idea, because when you kind of just zone in on that one sound, which is your teacher's voice, and that's the only voice that you need to be hearing at that time. Okay. And sometimes, when everything else is going on, it is a little hard, not to be distracted, and it's a little harder not to ignore. So it's important to use positive self-talk. You can tell yourself, you can do it. I can ignore them and I can focus on my work. I won't look. I'm going to keep working, having that self-control. I'll keep my eyes on my book, and I'll keep working and reading and doing exactly what I need to do. Because remember, that's what's going to make you a good learner.
I can do that. Oh, this is fairy dust. So be responsible. Focus on your schoolwork, whether it's online or working independently. Listen to your teachers, ignore distractions, and focus. This is how we're going to be responsible Eagles of Eastwood Elementary. Yes. I hope you enjoyed this. I mean, this is crazy. They got me with pixie dust and fairy wings, but you know what? All for you guys. Thank you for tuning into our first episode of Eastwood TV's SEL, Social Emotional Learning Lessons. We got more content coming out. This is Mr. Ramsey, your host. Ms. Lena, your co-host. And we'll see you next time.